Alright guys, what is going on? My name is Ollie Ward and today I'm back for another video. Today I'm going to be ranking the best players for every Premier League club. This doesn't necessarily mean their best player, it could be the most important player they need or a player they need to keep on to if they want to achieve that club's goals. Like for some teams it might be the push for the top four, might be for the title, or it might be to stay up. So these players are going to be the most important assets for their team. Again, this is based on personal preference and opinion. So if you guys think any other player should be their most important, best player at the club, let me know in the comments down below. Before we get into this video, subscribe if you are new, drop a like and turn on them post notifications because I posted a video yesterday. If you haven't seen that, that'll be in the description down below or just look on my channel. I was also going to say, can we hit 15 likes on this video? If we can, I'll put my Premier League table predictions out on Wednesday. If you want to see that, drop a like right now. So without further ado, let's just start with Arsenal. Arsenal's most important / best player at their team is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Aubameyang is a quality striker, okay? He's got goals in him, he's got a bit of flair, he can play off the wing and he can also play up front. Without him in Arsenal's attack, attacking wise, they're pretty much non-existent. Nketiah still needs a bit more time, Lacazette is a bit hit and miss, and Pepe can be alright in his day, but like I said, the same as Lacazette, inconsistent. I think Arteta giving him the armband and letting him have the freedom of the club has really excelled him as a player. Look at me thinking I know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I've just got a couple of notes here, okay? So stop. He does need to put pen to paper though. He does need to sign the contract. Arteta does think that is possible and he will continue for Arsenal next season. And if he could be on top form, score the same amount of goals he's done for the last couple of seasons, okay? They could push for top four. The next team we're going to talk about is Aston Villa and their best player / most important player, Jack Grealish. I think he really deserved that England call-up in the end. As much as I like to banter it with Villa fans about how he didn't deserve to get the England call-up because obviously Calvin Phillips did, he did overall deserve an England call-up. He's valued on the market at about 60 to 80 million and he did look likely he was going to go to Manchester United before they signed in Van der Beek. So it looks like Grealish might stay. And to the Villa fans, they'll be very happy that Jack Grealish is staying because he is a very important player for their team and to maybe to keep them up. I think he's one of the players last year that single-handedly kept Aston Villa up, okay? He is a very talented player and I think he's got one more year in him at Villa until he gets his big move because he does need it. Next thing we're going to talk about is Brighton. I think their best player at the club is Lewis Dunk. Bit of a change now. We're not going attacking players, we're going defensive players. He's just signed a new 5-year contract at Brighton. I think Brighton rely on that strong defence because they do have a very good defence now of Ben White, Lewis Dunk and Adam Webster. I think that's class. I also think Brighton will surprise a few this season and you'll see it in my prediction on Wednesday. Do you want to see that? 15 likes please. Next team, Burnley. And their best player, I've either gone for Nick Pope or James Tarkowski. Both solid defenders, not defenders or goalkeepers, you know what I mean? They're very solid defensive players. Nick Pope, again, getting the England call-up will do him a world of good and he was quality last season. I also thought it was a bit unlucky that James Tarkowski didn't get in the England squad. I thought he was a very important player for Burnley last season, very good defender. And again, Burnley might have a comfortable season, but I'm not too sure. But again, because I don't know much about Burnley, I'd look at them too and think, yeah, these two are the best, most important players in the team. Next thing we're going to talk about is Chelsea and their best / most important player. I'm going to say Pulisic. I think it's very easy to look at Chelsea and say, oh, their new signings, Werner, Havertz. You know, you can even say Kante. When I was looking at it, I had a debate between Kovacic and Pulisic, but I do want to say Pulisic will be a very important player for Chelsea this season. Having Pulisic in the side will really bolster Chelsea's attack. You know, you've got Pulisic, Havertz, Werner, Ziyech. You know, that's going to be a very deadly attacking team. On the back end of last season, Pulisic was unplayable. Like, he was brilliant. And if he chips in on goals and gets quite a few assists this season, he will be a very good player for Chelsea. And I think Chelsea will do very well this season. Next team, Crystal Palace. And their best player, okay, you're probably thinking Wilfried Zaha. No. Jordan Ayew. I agree that Zaha is a very good player and he has actually been tearing it up in pre-season. He's been a very decent player. I also do agree they probably do have to keep on to Zaha if they want to stay comfortable in the Premier League season and not face a relegation battle. But I think Jordan Ayew is very underrated and scores goals. Zaha, Ayew and Eze link up, them three. Oh, it will be tasty for Palace. Next team, Everton. And I've said their best player / most important player is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I know you could say it could be the new midfield partnership of Decore, James Rodriguez and Allen, but I think again they need time to adapt into the Premier League. I think the boy's got goals in him, okay? He's a very strong striker with a bit of pace as well. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin will have quite a Danny Ings season, score a lot of goals for Everton because he's got the quality of the midfield behind him now. He just needs them balls into him so he can score. He can score, and I think Everton will surprise a few under Ancelotti. Next team we've got is Fulham, and their best player, I didn't really know much, was Mitrovic. Being a championship side like us last season, we knew a lot about Mitrovic. He's an aggressive striker who likes to put himself around a bit, okay, but he does score goals. It was times last season with Fulham where they looked completely out of a game, but they would win 1-0, and that would come from either a Mitrovic penalty, Mitrovic header, edge of the box, in the box. He is a very good striker. They need Mitrovic if Fulham want to stay up. Next up is my boys, Leeds United. And I think the most important player / best player is either Calvin Phillips or Rodrigo. I think Calvin Phillips getting that England call up is probably the best thing for him because he's got the maturity now. He's going to bring it back to the Leeds camp and he's going to tell the players to switch bloody on. He does need to stay fit though, because we saw a few times last season that when we didn't have Calvin in the squad, we did seem a bit shaky. He just controls that midfield and he is a very good player, and despite what you say, he deserved his England call-up. Talking about Rodrigo now, he is our record signing, the Spanish number 9, okay, that seems weird to say. He needs to come into the Premier League and score goals for us. We had to rely on Patrick Bamford last year, which wasn't the best. Like, he's an all right player, but Rodrigo is just a level above him. If Rodrigo does struggle to score goals, I think Leeds will be in for a very difficult season. Next team, Leicester City, and their best player, James Maddison. James Maddison is a very class player. Signing a new contract for them was class. They needed to keep on to him. And again, if they want to push for top 4 again, which they did last season, I don't think they will, but they could try. I think having him to assist Vardy and he can chip in on goals himself, yeah, Leicester will have a good season again. Next team, Liverpool. And their most important player, best player, it's hard to pick from, but I think is Sadio Mane. There's not much I wrote down about him. He had a very good season last year. Everyone knows how good he is, one of the best wingers in the world. And I've just put down on my notes, scores goals, wins the league. Him, Salah, Firmino. Brilliant. If they continue what they're doing up front, scoring the goals, assisting each other, just playing brilliant football, I think they'll win the league again. In the words of Mark Goldbridge, okay, it is harder to retain the league than to win it. Next team, Man City, and their best player, Kevin De Bruyne. Not much to say about him. He is probably the best midfielder in the world. When I watch him play, I sometimes think, like, you look at him and you go, how? How's he just played that pass? How's he just scored from there? He is a brilliant player. If he stays fit, he's got the attacking team around him, he's got the defence behind him, you know, he's got the freedom in the park, and he could help Man City win the league. Next thing we're talking about is Manchester United, and their best player / most important player is Bruno Fernandes. From when Bruno Fernandes signed, he literally changed Manchester United. During lockdown, when the Premier League resumed, Manchester United were a fantastic team to watch, and I think that was down to Bruno. A lot of people pick up Bruno Fernandes and say, oh yeah, look, he scores goals and gets assists, but half of them come from penalties. I see that, but remember, you have to score the penalties as well. Overall, I think Bruno Fernandes is a fantastic player, and now he's got Van der Beek, Pogba, Rashford, Martial. They're all together, okay? They could really push for a top 4 this season. Next team, Newcastle. Their best player / most important player, Saint Maximin. Maximin? I didn't really know too much about Newcastle, who their best player is, but when I watch them, not that I often do, but when I do, he is their star player. He needs to be on top form though. He gets a lot of assists, but I think he does need to contribute more on goals. Relying on Joelinton is like relying on your nan to buy bread when she's got Alzheimer's. It's not going to work. She ain't remembering. But like I said, Saint Maximin needs some support. I'm a bit worried about Newcastle because I don't see a very solid attacking player there, but they could surprise me and could just have a comfortable season again. Next team, Sheffield United. And I've gone for Aaron Ramsdale. Aaron Ramsdale signing from Bournemouth to Sheffield United is their second most expensive signing ever. Aaron Ramsdale moving to Sheffield United was a great move for him. I think we all know Sheffield United weren't going to keep on to Dean Henderson and how well he played. We all knew Manchester United were going to be like, hey, come back, you need a new contract here. Replacing him with Aaron Ramsdale was a brilliant move because I think they're both top goalkeepers. Yeah, probably Dean Henderson's a bit better. Aaron Ramsdale was younger. Okay, he's got more time to... But again, I didn't know much about Sheffield United, and I just know Aaron Ramsdale's a very good goalkeeper. And I think Sheffield United will have a I don't know. I don't know about Sheffield United because they had a very good season last year, but I don't know if they'll be able to do it again. Next up, Southampton, and their best / most important player, Danny Ings. He needs to do it again. We all know what I mean by that. He needs to score the same amount of goals again. I think he's got one of the best strikes of a ball of any Premier League player. I know you're going to be like, what? But I think the way he hits a ball is second to none. I think the England call-up done him a world of good, practicing over there at St George's. He needs to score goals to make sure Southampton have a comfortable season and maybe even push for maybe a top 8 finish. Next team we've got is Tottenham Hotspurs, and I think their best player, Harry Kane. Mourinho has now got his first full season in charge of Tottenham, and he needs Harry Kane to stay fit. I think on his day, he can be the best striker in the world, let alone the Premier League. I think the key for him, though, is to stay fit and score goals. Okay, he's got the team around him. I think Dele Alli will have a very good season as well. But I don't know with Tottenham. I genuinely think they could push for top 4 this season. The next team I'm going for is West Brom, and their best / most important player, Grady Dianganga. Really don't know much about West Brom's team, but I know he is a very good player, and I read that Mark Noble was very upset that West Ham let this player go to West Brom. I believe he was in the Championship last season. Again, I didn't really watch much of him, but I think he was a very good player. I watched a little compilation of him earlier, and yeah, he looked very decent. But again, I don't know much about West Brom that I can say, yeah, that's their best player, that's their most important player. I think he needs to be on top form if he wants to keep them up. The penultimate team is West Ham, and their best / most important player, you're probably thinking Declan Rice. No, Haller. What I've wrote down in my notes is Haller needs to score, Rice needs to stay. As much as he gets stick, Declan Rice is a very good player, and if he does stay on to West Ham, I think he will now, they should be comfortable. But I know it's a pre-season game, but I watched them against Bournemouth the other day. They lost 5-2, and their defending was shambolic. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm actually quite worried about West Ham. That's when they need to rely on Haller to score goals, because again, I think it's a Mitrovic thing. Haller needs to score goals to keep West Ham comfortable. I'm not saying up, they might have a good season, but I think he does need to score goals, and he needs to be an important factor of how West Ham perform this season. Okay, the last team we're going to talk about is Wolves, and their best player, Raul Jimenez. I think Raul Jimenez staying at Wolves was just brilliant for him, okay? I don't think he was ever going to go, but staying there is going to bolster them a lot more. He scores goals all over the place, up here, down here, left, right, centre. He's brilliant. His link-up play with Traore is second to none. Traore whips it in. Raul Jimenez is there. Again, Wolves had a very solid season last year. Can they push for top 4 this year? People are saying they are. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. So that has been ranking best players from every Premier League club. What do you think? Who's your best player at your club? If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to smash a like down below. 15 likes for a table prediction on Wednesday. I've been Ollie Ward. You guys have been brilliant. Thanks guys for watching. Yeah, I'll see you later.